What's up, boys? Do me a favor, settle your tush into the cush. I got a proposition for you. Let's go over some prop bets for UFC 304, the huge card taking place in Manchester, England. We're going to have the fight companion rolling live for the main card, kicking off at 10 p.m. Eastern time zone. I was very surprised to see how excited all you UK fans are about the start time to this card. I thought some of you guys were going to be upset about it, and that wasn't the case at all. You guys have been very pumped for the fact that you have to stay up throughout the entire night, and the main card will be kicking off there right around sunrise for you guys. I'm so big tip of the hat to you fans out there for that. So we're going to go through some prop bets here, some over-under, some specific method of victories. We're going to be talking about the ones that stood out to me as I scrolled through this card, all right? So if you like that type of content, please like this video. Please subscribe if you're new to the channel. It really means a lot to me. You guys know I've been making a serious push with the channel here, and if you guys can give me that little bit of effort there, it means so much to me. Thank you, guys. Now, also, if you're interested in something a little bit more than the prop bets we'll be talking about in this video, if you want my official targets for this card, I have 6 official plays locked in for UFC 304. Do not hesitate to reach out to me for further details. Email me or shoot me a message via Instagram or Twitter. Okay, guys, I'm really locked in for this card, and I've been on an absolute tear. If you didn't see what I did for the last event, we absolutely destroyed UFC Vegas 94, hitting 4 of our 5 official plays, really bringing in some units of profit there, targeting underdogs like the Korean Superboy, just making all types of noise. Now, that was a wild event because I was simultaneously watching the UFC action on my phone while I was live at the Jake Paul versus Mike Perry event. If you guys saw me out there, if you follow me on IG, I even posted a reel here on the tube. I was sitting ringside. There was all types of celebrities walking right in front of me. It was pretty wild. So if you didn't know, the teller gets down like that. We get those exclusive tickets down by the ring, and we're only just starting that stuff up. You guys know we got big things coming. I'll be cage side moving forward for a lot of these big UFC events. I'm working on it, guys. I need your support here. Help me out so I could take over the MMA media game. So we'll jump into the first fight. I promise you guys I won't hold you up anymore. Just one last thing. Just want to let you know we are powered by BETUS. Sign up through the link in the description of this video to BETUS and get a 125% match on your first 3 deposits. And if you do that, also let me know so I can give you an additional gift. It's a great time to have a big belly account rolling. Okay, we have the huge UFC 304 card set to take place this weekend. We have the Olympics about to kick off. You know the Olympics is going to be a lot of fun. Look, you got Sha'Carri Richardson hitting up that 100 meter, got her nails all done up, hair glistening in the wind. You know she's taking that, representing Team USA. On a more serious note, we got some wrestling and boxing that we could target as well. So it's just a great time to be a sports bettor. And you guys know football season's coming up very quickly. So I've been very excited. And if you're looking to sign up, hit that link up, sign up through it, and let me know. All right, guys, let's go talk some UFC action here.
The teller.
You guys, so check this out. We are scrolling through the prelims, and boy, was I in shock when I saw the new placement of this fight here. Mokaev taking on Manel Kape. This fight is taking place very early on the card. Now, there could be a reason for that, right? Maybe it has something to do with the time zone of where the fight's taking place. Maybe they want to kind of get the fans going early on when it's kind of a peak time over there. I don't know. I am not in favor of the placement of this fight. This is essentially a title eliminator for the flyweight division. You guys know I've been the knight in bright, shiny armor, always defending the flyweight division. So I'm wounded on the battlefield right now. I'm very upset to see the placement of this fight. This is one of my most anticipated fights of the card. I would have loved to see this fight take place on the main card at that. I think that this fight can take place or swap out with a couple fights on the main card, or at least one that I could think of. So a little disappointed there. If you guys saw today, as I'm filming this on Wednesday, the 24th, Manel and Muhammad got into a little scuffle backstage. There's a lot of animosity behind this fight as they work their way in the cage, and it's a very high level fight. If you guys didn't see my full prediction video, I am on Manel to get the job done here. This is a tough fight, but I think that Manel Kape has the footwork, the speed, and specifically the striking to win this fight. I think that he can avoid being taken down, or at least I'm hoping that he could do that. It's not going to be easy to do that, but if he does, he will have the striking advantage. Manel has been putting in extensive work with high-level Dagestani fighters like Umar Nurmagomedov, Tegrit Ulanbekov. Okay, so he's been surrounding himself with those types of people. When he's in the cage with Muhammad Mokaev, it will not be anything that's foreign to him. Okay, but where am I going with my selection? I saw somebody comment under my last prop video that I wasn't that clear on the pick I was giving, which was kind of blasphemy because I ran it back and I saw at the end of every segment, each fight we talked about, I was very clear on the prop bet that we were targeting. And in fact, we did very good and we slammed some big plus money plays. Okay, so let me get to what I'm saying here. I am liking the under. We're going to pull up an under in a second, but I think that Manel can get a knockout in this fight if Muhammad Mokaev struggles to get those takedowns, as he has in some specific spots. He's a very young fighter. He's a little bit one-dimensional. If he struggles, I think that Kape can hurt him there, and Kape could catch him coming in anyway. He throws nasty flying knees. He times a lot of danger strikes, and he could potentially get a knockout. But on the flip side, Mokaev is a very dangerous grappler too, and if eventually he could drown Kape in this fight, maybe he pulls off a rear naked choke. We've seen him pull off a lot of late submissions, and Kape is a fighter that we've seen in those types of scenarios, a while back. And if you're not familiar with Kape's background, this is a fighter that was fighting at a very high level, or competing against some of the highest level fighters in this division way before he signed with the UFC. Okay, he was fighting the best of what Japan had to offer, and some of those fighters were some of the best in this division. Okay, Kyoji Hiraguchi, that was a very competitive fight before he got submitted at the end of the third round. He had a decision fight with Kai Asakura, which he eventually redeemed himself, knocking him out as they rematched over there. Okay, I mean, he's been in there with some big names, Takeya Mizugaki. He had a decision loss to Oko Sasaki. I mean, this is a fighter that has been cutting his teeth against some of the best way before he signed with the UFC. And we came into the UFC, he lost 2 close decision fights against high-level fighters. He is primed right now at 30 years old, and do not be surprised if he gets that knockout. But even if he doesn't, and if we see something similar to that Kyoji fight, where he's submitted and maybe he struggles a little bit with his takedown defense or something like that, I like the under 2.5 rounds here at plus odds, at plus 160. It's currently at plus 160 on BetUS, open at plus 165. I think there's some real value there, especially with the animosity we talked about going into this fight. These guys are going to go at it. And I know typically people you don't really expect those big time finishes in the flyweight division, but these are 2 fighters that have the ability to finish the fight in their respected field. So Kape with the striking, Mokaev with the grappling. I like the value there. Over to the welterweight division, we have Oban Elliott taking on Preston Parsons. Now, this is a tricky one because I could definitely play both sides of the fence with the play we're going to talk about here, but I am settled in to a selection here that I kind of like. I think I see some value. There is definitely a possibility that we see a knockout in this fight. Preston Parsons is a fighter that has been knocked out. We've seen that in his UFC debut when he took a short notice fight against D-Rod. Shout out to D-Rod, who was just on the Jackson podcast. He's a cool dude. He had that knockout over him in his debut there. And we also saw Parsons knocked out way back in the day by Mike Perry. Okay, so we've seen him knocked out before. And for those of you guys that have ran the tape back in those fights, it's not out of the realm that we see Parsons get knocked out here, because Oban Elliott does have a solid offensive attack with his striking. I do believe that. He only has 2 knockouts, but we've seen flashes from him with his striking. But even in his last fight, right, he cracks Val Woodburn with a nasty head kick, and there wasn't a lot of power on it because Woodburn bombarded right through that head kick and actually landed his own onslaught on Elliott right after that, dropping Elliott. Although Elliott has some sharp striking, it seems there's not a lot of power behind it, right? I guess when you go over the numbers and even reflecting on that Val Woodburn fight and take this into consideration, he's on a 6-fight winning streak. Hasn't had a knockout in any of those fights. In fact, he's gone to a decision in his last 5 fights. Okay. Preston Parsons, on the other hand, he has gone to a decision in his last 3 fights since that D-Rod fight. You could have argued that he even won the Trevin Giles fight. Doesn't matter though, win or lose. I mean, he's going to a decision. He's not knocking dudes out. He's not being knocked out. And I think that there is a solid recipe here for this fight to go to a decision. Okay. Parsons has underrated striking. He has decent power. We have seen Elliott dropped as well. So I want to throw that out there to you guys. There is a potential factor where Parsons can get a knockout here as well. But this is a fighter that has never had a knockout victory. So even though he's shown these flashes, even in the UFC, or dropping dudes, like he dropped Giles pretty bad in that fight. If you guys remember, if you ran the tape back in that fight, he dropped Trevin Giles bad in the first round. We've seen flashes from him with his striking, but the numbers are not there. He has 0 knockouts as a professional. And then take a look at the line here. The over 2.5 rounds on BetUS is set at -130. I think there's some value there. I do. I think there's value on the over 2.5 rounds. Now, if this was, a more steep line, then maybe you stay away from it because you can kind of see the element where maybe a knockout happens. But if you go over the numbers, this is a value play, in my opinion, -130. And if you want to push it, you could even take this fight to go to a decision and get a little bit more of a juicy line, like a +105 or something like that. Nathaniel Wood taking on Daniel Pineda in the featherweight division. Take note, Daniel Pineda is just a couple days away from turning 39 years old. He is a fighter that is very much boom or bust. Okay, he has 0 decision victories. Now, he has a decent amount of decision losses, but he's also been knocked out and subbed, and especially recently. Okay, all right. In his last fight, he did lose a decision against Bruce Leroy, but take a look before that, okay? He had the submission victory over Tucker Lutz. He was, in fact, TKO'd by Andre Fili. Remember that. He was getting hurt very badly in that fight. There was an eye poke, but he was en route to being finished in that fight. Cub Swanson knocked him out there. Before that, he had his own knockout victory over Herbert Burns. I mean, check out the string of fights that have not gone to a decision here. He had a finish over Mavlid Kabulov, a submission victory over Jeremy Kennedy. Both those fights were in the same night. He was on performance-enhancing drugs for those fights. Before that, a knockout over Ray Trujillo, Elias Rodriguez, Dimitri Ivy, Josh Davila, Georgi Karakanian, Mark Dickman. You guys, you want me to keep going? Well, I got to end the list there. But that is the string of fights that have not gone to a decision for the very up and down Daniel Pineda, who is older than ever. Okay, that's an actual fact here. Daniel Pineda will be the oldest he's ever been when he fights this weekend. Guess what, guys? We're all the oldest we've ever been, second to second. I'm the oldest I've ever been right now. But listen, I think you guys know which way I'm going for this fight here. I am liking the under here, okay? I understand that Nathaniel Wood has gone to a decision himself in his last however many fights. It's been a lot, okay? Since the knockout loss to John Dodson, decision, okay? But understand this, before Nathaniel Wood made his way to the UFC, he was actually quite the fight finisher, okay? And he has the ability to finish the fight in a variety of ways. He has underrated boxing skills. He has nasty jiu-jitsu. I don't think that Daniel Pineda is going to hold up in this fight. We've been talking about his age. I don't think that he's going to hold up here. And I think that this fight is going to go under. Okay. Now, if you want to target the under 2.5 and play it a little safer, the under 1.5 was at +170. Unfortunately, we have had some movement. It's +130. Still plus odds there. But the +70 would have been a lot better, obviously. I still think that that's a potential play you could target. Also, if some of you guys are looking for a leg out there, if you want to take the fight to end inside the distance, play it a little safer at -210. I don't think that's necessarily a bad leg. I don't see this fight going to a decision. I really think that Daniel Wood's going to find that finish, but also note that Daniel Pineda is a fight finisher, okay? If he's winning the fight, he is finishing the fight, and we have seen Nathaniel Wood finished, right? He's been finished in the majority of his losses as well. I like the under in that fight.
Michael Vick here at BetUS.com. Get it all. Huge bonuses, great odds, a race book, live in-game betting, and a casino. BetUS, my online sports book and casino.
And then I got one more for you guys. This is, without a doubt, my featured fight on the card. I've been so excited for this fight. I've been watching the countdown and been watching a lot of content that Tom Aspinall has been putting out. I'm super excited for this fight. You guys know Curtis Blaydes is no pushover. I cannot wait to see these two mammoth heavyweight fighters clash. Two heavyweight fighters that are very talented. I'm just super excited. And remember, guys, we're going to have the fight companion rolling for the main card. So you guys can catch me on the mic here. You guys can join me. If you have your mic and your camera ready, I will be bringing on guests for this fight companions episode. I cannot wait. And I think there's a potential play here. This is a good fight to talk about. I feel strongly that Tom Aspinall is going to find the knockout in this fight, and I do believe Tom Aspinall is going to get the knockout early. I also want to say this is something I haven't really talked about. When you take a look at Tom Aspinall's record, 14-3, just quickly note that the Curtis Blaydes loss was an injury, wasn't a real loss. He also was DQ'd for throwing that 12-6 elbow, similarly to what John Jones did against Matt Hamill. He was DQ'd there against Lukasz Paraboic. And then he got caught in a heel hook against Stuart Austin. His only legit loss was getting caught in a heel hook. And I know some of you guys have strong feelings about those heel hooks, but I mean, they are legit. But still, Tom Aspinall is the truth, man. Okay, do not let that 14-3 record skew you from understanding who he is as a fighter. This dude is the best heavyweight fighter on planet Earth, in my opinion. And I think that he will prove to be the most talented heavyweight fighter we see through the next couple of years until some newer generation fighter takes that role over. Okay, I think Tom Aspinall is going to find the knockout here. Curtis Blaydes engages in those types of fights. He's not a chicken, man. This dude will come across the cage. He will meet you. He'll try to land his own shots. We saw that in the first fight. They're going to meet. They're going to clash again. Blaydes is a warrior. Tom Aspinall is going to touch him, and Curtis Blaydes is going to get knocked out once again. He's been knocked out in all 4 of his losses. We've seen him vulnerable to being hit with big shots. We just saw it in the Pavlovich fight. We saw it in a couple fights, right? The Francis Ngannou fight, the Derek Lewis fight. Tom Aspinall is going to knock him out, and he's going to knock him out early. So I've been throwing a lot of heavy plus action towards your guys' way. I mean, I'll throw another one here. I'm going to give you a couple plays for this fight. You might want to target the fight to end in round 1, which you can get like at plus 160, plus value there. Under 1.5 rounds is set on BetUS right around minus 170. It was minus 165. It's dipping a little bit there. That's a line I'm going to throw your guys' way. I mean, I've been giving you all these big plus values, so I can give you some of these minus type of lines as well. And also, if you want to just target Tom Aspinall to finish this fight via KO/TKO, that's another fight. That's another line that you can catch right around minus 170 to minus 165 to minus 175, something like that. And I'm not opposed to that either. I think that we are going to see Tom Aspinall knock out Curtis Blaydes there. That's going to wrap up the prop edition for UFC 304. Do not forget to hit that like button and that subscribe button. And please don't forget to go follow me on my Instagram page and my Twitter page as well. I appreciate you guys more than ever. Please join me for the Fight Companion. And if you want to work with me for those official plays, do not hesitate to reach out to me. All right, guys, signing out. Teller.
The teller.